Okay, thanks, guys. Now we like just around the okay, thanks, guys. This is the key. Okay, good, thank you. Hi, May. Oh, thank you, May, for coming. Appreciate it. That's wrong. The first one. Yeah, it's 10:30. Yeah, no, not at all. Yes, it's just very exciting. No, she didn't. Yeah, and I know that you and mother are having a celebration here. No. I just know that she told me about it. That she saw Maggie and no, she didn't suffer. Excuse me. Yeah, she didn't suffer. Yeah, great spread. Just seeing it go by. Looks good. I would like to pass it on. She's 87. Yes. This is Grace, her sister. Yeah. really good at that, right?
Well, thank you for coming.
We can wheel the TV.
Well, thank you very much for coming. I really appreciate it. going to go through a couple of comments. Maybe I think if you I don't know how it's going to work because it's more spread out than I how is this going to work? So I'll just use it as speak. Well, thank you all for coming. I'm just going to start the program for Pauline's celebration of life shortly. Thank you for all coming. It's we're a bit spread out, but I think for now you can just stay seated. This section's very well behaved. Out section on the patio side. Can they hear me out here? Uncle Kelly, you can't hear me out here, can you? Okay. So I'm just going to thank you all for coming. I'm just going to start the celebration of life for Pauline, the program. Because we're kind of spread out, you don't have to move. Just keep eating your food. Now, let me first say this is Michael, Pauline's son. As you know, this place she loved, the Arbutus Club, and the Fireside restaurant that we're sitting in. I'd like to thank, first of all, Don Robinson and the staff here at the Arbutus Club. They've been very helpful in organizing this and accommodating us to make this all work today. So thank you, Don, and your team for that. I wanted to, you know how much Pauline loved this place, and it was just a great opportunity to share this with you all. So when we thought about how to do this today, we thought we would have, of course, the formal Catholic services we just did, which many of you were able to attend, and then to celebrate her life here. So that's what this is about. Many of you have asked me, how did she pass? And so I think it's important that you should know that it was very unexpected, that it was sudden, but she passed peacefully, without any suffering. And there were people there who tried to help her, to resuscitate her, give her CPR, AED, for any of those types of challenges that might have occurred. So she got the help she needed, and that was still, she was meant to go. It was her time. And so, I think you should all know that. And I know that you are all dear friends and family members, and it's been a shock. It's not easy to go this way, right? Some people keep telling me that it's a blessing, and I believe that too. But, for all of us, it's a sudden shock. I know someone was just telling me that, I said this during the service, but many of you have received messages from Pauline over the years. Even in the old days, with the healthcare unit and community health for Vancouver, the table here by the window, Babs and Betty Canning now was telling me that Pauline was commonly communicating to them about me and what I did in the band. And I said, you mean by email? And of course, no, not by email. It was just verbal, right? Because that was before the days of email. I appreciate more and more with each of you telling me your stories and sharing your messages with me how much Pauline made an effort to stay in touch and how much she shared of her life with all of you. So, you know, I really do appreciate that you've been able to share that with me and my family because it's been very helpful to get through this time. But it has given me a new appreciation, you know, and I didn't fully appreciate because I didn't know the breadth of it. And that's why you're all here today. And, you know, I appreciate you making the time to share a little time with myself, my family, Graham, who's trying to set up the AV, Justine and Andrea, who did the readings today at the funeral mass, Christina, my wife, Pauline's daughter-in-law, who you know, she treated like a daughter and fully embraced into the family. And I know how much Pauline always appreciated all of the dedicated life that Christina's had with me. It's not an easy life, as many of you know, but you know, I know that Pauline fully recognized how hard it was for Christina to be my wife. So and I appreciate that. I will also say that we have a number of other, we have different groups here. We certainly have the Vancouver Chinese Choir. Close to 40 members are here. Many of them are on the patio, I think, and some in this other area here. They will be singing later today. They did put together a very nice video. We won't be able to show all of it, but we'll show some of it. So I really appreciate all the efforts, all the photos you put together for that. Also, we have members of the St. Peter and Paul Church Choir who sang today. Alex and Jessica, thank you very much for all of that. Thank you for sharing your voices today with Pauline. Pauline, of course, was a member of both choirs over many years, and I know that the friendship, certainly, and the photos that you've shared of the choir, Bridget, Cecilia, others, thank you very much for that. Certainly the Vancouver Chinese Choir, I'll have more to say later about that too, in terms of what that meant to her, being a member for so many years. I want to also recognize Auntie Kat and Auntie Rose, Uncle Michael, and Uncle Conway for dear friendship to my parents for so many years. It means a lot to me that you're here today. Thank you. And also I should say that by way of introduction, perhaps, Moira, are you still in the back over there? In the back corner? So Moira can hear me, that's great. So Moira, like Maureen and Cecilia, were dear neighbors of my mother as she lived here in the Kolshana place. Moira, you can come over here if you can. Maybe I can go over there where you are. But I'm just going to invite Moira to say a few words. And certainly if there's anyone else who'd like to share some words of remembrance about my mother, please let me know. Or please just walk up to the mic and just let me know. I just want to sort of share this in an open way. But Moira is one of the people I asked because she's a dear neighbor. I will say that Moira and Cecilia in particular was such a big help to my mother on a daily basis. And the friendship was just tremendous. And thank you very much for all the care and love you gave to my mother. But I just want to give you this opportunity to share some memories with us.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, welcome everyone. I was so blessed to be a neighbor of Pauline's and Luke's too. Dear man, they were both so wonderful. Pauline was my neighbor at Marguerite House, which is just a very short walk away, and she was also my friend, dear friend. My husband Reg and I were very privileged to get to know Pauline and Luke over many years. I think we lived in the same building for 18 years. There are so many stories, as you all have, I'm sure, that I could share with you about Pauline. But today I decided to concentrate on two of her many attributes. And those are, firstly, her positive attitude, something we all need. And secondly, her amazing, loving gratitude, which was spoken of at the service today. Maintaining a positive outlook has been very hard for most of us these last couple of years. But dear Pauline kept in touch with her friends, with her family, with new people she met, and not just by phone, that's too old-fashioned, by email, Facebook, which I never use, and WhatsApp. What's that? I mean, she knew more about social media than I did. She was an inspiration. She sent out so many positive messages to all her friends and family, messages of hope and inspiration. She sang in her beloved Vancouver Chinese choir on Zoom. She spoke to me of that choir so often. It was part of her. She even began studying the Mandarin language. She knew some, but Cantonese was her main Chinese language. But she wanted to know Mandarin better so that she could sing the songs in Mandarin more eloquently. Amazing. I hope that when I'm 87, I am as brilliant as she was in using all of these wonderful new modern tools. Pauline looked forward with optimism to so much. And lately she told me she was looking forward to spring, to the flowers, to the blossoms, to walks in the park, to Easter at her church. She had even made her hairdressing appointment to have her hair done. And to more opportunities to meet and be with her dearest family. She was so very, very proud of her family. Michael, Christina, her dear grandchildren. And I had the pleasure of getting to know them too. I recently told Michael that if you looked up the word gratitude in the dictionary, if you use such an ancient thing, or on Google, there should be a picture of Pauline next to the definition. And isn't that true? All of you have known her gratitude for little things that you might have done for her, for just being with her, speaking with her. She expressed her gratitude to her friends and family for their love and for helping her in any way. My husband Reg and I had the honor to do some shopping for Pauline, and it was so wonderful to deliver items to her at her doorstep. She always smiled so beautifully and said, "Thank you, my dear," just like that. As I walked back down the hallway, she repeated her thanks again and again. "Thank you, Moira. Thank you, Reg." And again said, "I love you," or just, "Love you." You can hear her voice. Many, many times. She kept waving, peeking her little head out the door until I reached the elevator and the doors opened. By the time I returned to my suite, just 2 floors below, there would be an email from Pauline saying thank you again with a little angel, a little happy face. I am so blessed to have had Pauline as my neighbor and to have known Luke too. My husband Reg asked me to tell you that he so enjoyed meeting Luke and Pauline in the earlier years as they did Tai Chi in the spa room at our complex at Marguerite House. Pauline liked to be warm, and it was lovely and warm in the spa. On July 20th last year, just 2 days after her 87th birthday, Pauline sent Reg and I the most beautiful message, which I will now read to you in closing my remarks. Here is what she wrote at 9 o'clock in the morning. "What a miracle!" Exclamation mark twice. "This morning I came across a message from Facebook." And here it is. "Always believe something wonderful is going to happen. even with all the ups and downs, never take a day for granted. Smile and cherish the little things. And remember to hug the ones you really love. Then she went on to say this, well, I cannot hug you right now, but I'm sending you and Reg my virtual hugs. Thank you so much for your kindness! Exclamation mark. Love, Pauline. Well, Pauline, thank you from all of us for being such a blessing in our lives. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Maura, for sharing those kind memories and reflections. It's just tremendous there, and I know that many of you received those messages from Pauline on WhatsApp, and certainly through Facebook. She reached out to many. I know that she really made that attempt to keep in touch with people. I just wanted to thank you, Maura, again, and thank you for your kindness with Reg to my mother in so many ways through this time. I wanted to invite now Sue, who just came here. She's a staff member here at the Arbutus Club, and my parents were members here since the 70s. I recently discovered, of course, that the Arbutus Club was established in 1964. I didn't realize that. I just thought it was here the whole time, and I remember coming here as a kid in the 70s. But it's been a long time here, and it was a second home to my parents and to my mother. And Sue will just tell you a little bit about Pauline and what she meant to the staff here. So thank you for sharing this, Pauline. Let's do.
I've been working at the club here for 26 years, and I think the first or second day I came here, Pauline was here to welcome me and always had a kind hello. So in March, she found out, one of the first people who came to me who found out that I was retiring the end of April. And she said to me, Sue, do you have any plans? And I looked and I went, no, I don't have one single plan. So she instantly went home and wrote me 10 pages of my retirement plan of how to start. And she actually just said to me, you start small, start first in Vancouver. So I have travel plans, 10 pages of travel plans and activities to do. But to me and so many staff here, she was a bright light. I just can't tell you how important she was to me. She just made my day every time she came in. She made me feel so good about myself. So I can't speak highly enough about her. She was important to all of us. And she would always say to me, I love you, Sue, you're my angel. And she'd leave and I'd go, I love Pauline, she's my angel. So I was so grateful, Michael, and to all the family. I know so much about you and how gifted and talented you are. And my deepest sympathy. And I was just so fortunate to know Pauline. She was a mentor and a friend to me. So thank you for letting me say how I feel about Pauline.
Thank you, Sue. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. I would just like to invite, we have a number of family members here. Auntie Esther, just saying hi. I'm not don't try to make you jump out of your seat, but yeah. Auntie Esther, Uncle Philip, and Auntie Grace. Auntie Grace is Pauline's dear sister. And like so many other friends here, Grace, who lives in San Francisco with Philip and their son Winston, Pauline's nephew, communicated with Pauline on a regular basis and really taught, as my mother said, Grace, you've taught my mother so many things over her life. Thank you for doing that. And you were a dear sister to her. I'm not asking you to come speak, though. I'm not trying to force you to speak here, so I'm just saying this. That's all I'm saying. Okay? You want to show your face? Okay, yeah. Thank you, Auntie Grace.
Well, I just want to show my face, I have connected with Pauline, my sister. I live in just by phone. I don't see her too often, because I do not come to US all the time. So I connected with him, phone we call together, and we talk a lot, especially during the pandemic years. We talk a lot. And then Pauline is a very good professional worker, but during family life, things at home, she doesn't know how to do it. She doesn't know how to do it, okay? Like how to cut my toenails. I cannot bend down. I cannot cut my toenails. And then, I don't have breath when I sing. How do I get more breath? How can I get up the high notes, And then when I sing Mandarin songs, I cannot sing it. I say, you have to do this, you have to do this. And she is very grateful. She's very happy that when I give her some hints, she can get it, and then she can do it, So she was very, very happy. So every time I talk to her, she always is very thankful, very grateful. I always say, oh, my dear sister, you're so good, you're so smart, and then I love you, and so on. Now she's gone, and nobody will say those good things to me anymore.
Uncle Philip.
No, he doesn't. He thinks he's the man of the house.
Okay. I did it already. So, so many thoughts there. Thank you for that. But I would, by the way, invite someone at the community health table. If you want to share any words, you can. Please let me know if you'd like to. But I'm just going to go to Linda, who is a cousin in the family. We have Cindy and Lisa and others, the extended family, Daniel, Esther's brother, and others who are hopefully being able to watch this. I'm going to switch over this angle here. Can we go this way? I'm just going to switch this way, unless the lighting's bad. Linda, why don't you come and speak here, right here? Okay.
Well, it's never been planned to speak today, but I just come to have an emotional experience with her last Tuesday night after a practice in the church. I have to flash back. For the past few years, I've been buying odd items for her and drop it off at her place, and then we chat. And then I've been away to Hong Kong for more than 5 months this time. So once she knew that I'm back, the list fly to my WhatsApp. Okay. So I bought the item and dropped it off at her place at the beginning of March. We chat for more than half an hour at the front entrance. And after that, she couldn't stop and sent me 6 more voice messages to continue her conversation. Out of the 6, I already forwarded there's 2 belong to me, 4 is for choir members, and the 2 I haven't sent is I will give it to Graham. I will do it later. What happened is ever since she passed away, I've been the liaison between the choir group and with Michael on today's function. And Tuesday night, we met from the church. We decided what to sing and what to dress, and then I came home. I figured maybe I should share with, I already shared out of the 2 related to the choir member, I share with Vivian. And then I figure Seeming is part of the one that she mentioned. So when I got home, I told Siming in the church, I'll forward her voice message to you. And while I was writing in my living room, dining table, I noticed there's a moth flying from nowhere. And I couldn't figure out, because I've been, it's all closed door and I have screen door. How did you get into my apartment? So what happened, I just ignored it, keep writing to Siming Si. And then all of a sudden, the moth come down and touch my cheek and then go away. Just like, hey, I'm here. Don't ignore me. Then I said, wow. Then I noticed, then I started thinking maybe it's Pauline that's visiting. And I told Siming on my WhatsApp. And then by the time I finished sending the item, I just continue my work because I need to sleep. It's getting late. So I pursue, and I couldn't find her anywhere. I went to my bathroom and then trying to go to sleep. And I noticed the next time I saw her, she was walking along my hallway, following me into my bathroom and then trying to proceed to my bedroom. And I said, oh my God, I'd rather not you get into my bedroom. So what happened was I find a container, I scoop her up and cover her with a piece of paper, and I just try to set her free. I don't want her to be in my apartment. So I kind of opened the sliding door and let her free. And the magic thing is, when I close my sliding door, not my sliding door, my screen door, the moth stay on the screen from the outside without going out, without leaving. I was watching, I said, oh my God, it must be you. I know, should you be around, you will thank me for what I have done for the past 2 weeks. That's why I have the urge to share with you all this magic moment that I experienced. I think this is her that visited me and say thank to me. That's all I want to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Linda. Thank you for sharing that remarkable moments there. We'll hear from the choir in a moment, but I'm just going to ask Bridget if you want to come say some words. Bridget is someone that Pauline knows well at St. Peter's and Paul Parish, and they were good friends.
Pauline was never inhibited from making the first friendly move. When I joined the St. Peter and Paul choir in 2014, she embraced me with enthusiasm. There began a warm friendship of getting to know each other. Family pride was an ongoing focus of our sharing and caring. Her spontaneity and kindness broke down barriers of shyness in other people. Such was her joy of sharing, I delayed the start of my honeymoon in order to go with Josephine and her granddaughter Andrea to that special anniversary concert at the Chan Centre, taking place on our wedding day. On another occasion, we accompanied her to our dear friend, conductor Tanya's classical guitar concert at the Orpheum. When we picked her up, she was smartly dressed with the navy blue beret worn at a perky angle. She looked and acted barely half her age. She was such a joy to be with. There will be many giggles in heaven now that she is there. Before the pandemic in 2018, she invited me here to the Arbutus Club as her guest for their renowned Christmas buffet lunch. For such a petite person, I was amazed at the variety and amount of food she ate to celebrate this occasion. After the meal, she gave me a tour, showing me all her favourite activities. It has been a place of fun and meaning for her in her efforts to keep physically fit. What life lessons can we take from Pauline as we say our goodbyes? Firstly, smile and the world smiles with you. Cry and you cry alone. Pauline's face to her world was always a happy smile. 2, pride and gratitude for one's family and friends. Pauline was so proud of Michael and his choice to serve our province with integrity. Service was what Michael had learned from his father and mother. Their work in healthcare in our community was always before him growing up. Pauline was a bit terrified of politics, but her firm faith in God's plan ensured her support in Michael's endeavours. She never resented time that this choice placed on him and his need to give it his all. 3rd, love of the individuality of family and friends. She was so proud of her grandchildren and their unique path of achievements. Through the pandemic, they were always there to get her where she needed to be. Graham arranging and taking her for her vaccinations. They must have supported her to be the most advanced with it granny of technology in Vancouver. It is less than 2 weeks, but suddenly my WhatsApp program is silent. Pauline's ability to find and share inspirational vignettes daily amazed me. Far from being isolated during this pandemic, Pauline was communicating her love of music, life, and beauty, certainly to me, and by the sound of things, if not to all of you here, who called her friend. 4thly, music is the jewel of life. Whatever you put into music, you get out 100-fold. Choirs and the ability to use the gift of song has been a strong bond that united Pauline and I instantly. My father used song to help avoid his family getting sick on the bumpy and twisty roads in Ireland. If you're singing, you don't throw up. We started to sing the moment we got into the car. Pauline recognized my ability to can belto and felt I was a good addition to the choir. After 40 years in the St. John's Choir, I can attest to the great diversity of friends one meets in that environment. Pauline's wonderful Chinese choir was a source of immense pride and joy. To work together to make music is the ultimate gift of using your God-given talent. However, to be able to join voices and produce a worthy end requires a lot of commitment and dedication. I've been privileged to attend several of Pauline's performances, which impressed me with the talent and diversity of cultural joy I experienced. The last Zoom performance was the ultimate in use of homework and technical mastery that this pandemic has produced. Every member of that choir had a face and a voice in our beautiful Vancouver to share with the world. Our church choir was also a place of joy for Pauline, and it is our privilege to sing God's praise as he welcomes her into heaven. Fifth and last, trust in God and all will be well. Today we celebrate Pauline's life and trust that her work was done. A special bond we shared was caring for our husbands on their cancer journey. Derek had died, and my gratitude to Father John Horgan's counsel throughout his illness was the reason I moved to St. Peter and Paul's. I took it one day at a time. Pauline shared her fear of not being fit enough to care for Luke. However, she took courage in my journey and was grateful when he died that she had supported him throughout this uncertain journey. For all of us today, we can follow her example of knowing we can speak to our loved ones in our hearts at any time. She shared with me that there is a smiling picture of Luke by her bedside that she consulted every night. This obviously gave her courage to endure the extreme loneliness and grief we experience on the loss of our life partner. Her gratitude for the many blessings of family and music that her life has given her meant that she accepted God's will. Pauline was a dear friend whose presence will live forever in our hearts.
Well, Bridget, I really appreciate that. I mean, you are a dear friend of my mother's, and obviously you can speak about a number of things that I'll just mention before I ask Joanne to come up and speak, if she's still willing to do that. I know it was a very hard journey for my mother when Luke passed, and the 9 years that preceded that, many of you were also very good friends of Luke. And, I think when you're nursing and you care for others, it's very hard to try and care for your own. And I know that was part of the concern, Bridget, that you talked about. And it got to a point where Pauline wasn't physically able to do as many things as she wanted to do for Luke. Certainly in terms of the sacrifice that has happened in my life, thank you for saying what you said. I know that it's not just, many of us make a lot of sacrifice for public service, and we all have our roles, as I always say. But my mother made a lot of sacrifice. She shared me with everyone else. And, I think she recognized that I couldn't always be there with her. I tried as much as I could. But I do think that she also was able to communicate with people broadly through social media and Facebook. She tried to create and raise more friends, and I will note that for those of you who received solicitations from her, thank you. I never asked her to. She just went. She was very aggressive, I know at times, so sorry for that. But she's just enthusiastic. Now, Joanne, so I grew up in a household from the 70s, and I look at all of the work that was done, and there are names here that I recognize. When I see the emails from Gail Mitchell, from Rosa, from others, it's been Betty. It's been tremendous for me to see the names and actually see the faces. So Joanne Harnish is someone who I know had worked side by side with my mother for so many years. And you told me some stories on the phone the other day. I just thought, you might want to share a few of those. Joanne, this is not something that I'm forcing her, apparently, but I just, maybe you could just say a few words, that's all. You don't have to, okay?
And I keep reminding Michael that he's my MLA, so
okay.
I'm going to pay for this.
Yeah, great.
And you'll notice I have no notes because
that's okay, though.
you're right. And I'd like to carry on from
Pauline's sister, Grace? Is
Yes.
that her name?
Yes.
Her mentioning of Pauline and her home abilities. And one day at lunch, we were talking about a soiree we were about to have, and we had many of them. And I said, Pauline, perhaps you could cook this particular dish. And she looked at me and said, I don't cook. I said, what do you mean? So, I'm now learning that she said, no, I don't cook. And I became worried about Michael, who was not that old at the time. And I said, well, what happens to Michael? He's fine, don't worry about him. He has lots of food. Shortly after that, she told me, because we had lunch every day, we were on the same site working as community liaison nurses in the hospitals. She announced that she was having her kitchen renovated. I said, really? But Pauline, you don't cook. I know, but it's going to be renovated. And when it's finished, you can all come over for lunch, which we found, well, this is good. So, and I used to tease her a lot, and she was really good about it. So every day I would say, how's the kitchen coming? Very well, very well. We're getting close, and then you can come. And I said, Pauline, I want to know the menu. I want to know exactly what you're going to do in this kitchen. So every day she would leave lunch to go to her other hospital site. She'd say to me, I'd say, the menu, and she'd say, ha ha, you're funny. And I will always remember her saying that to me. And I used to tease her about everything, and she'd say, ha ha, you're funny. And then she'd laugh. Well, we did go for lunch, beautiful kitchen. She did not cook. All this food appeared, and we had a wonderful time. And I just have to add that she just had a really great sense of humor, and I just teased her about everything. I got 100 miles out of the I don't cook business. And the last time I saw her, I drove her home from Betty's. We had another soiree, which nurses are good at that. And when we got outside, in the dark, I couldn't find my car. Because I parked, I had to drive around and around in an area I'm not familiar with. So poor Pauline, I said, take my arm. We're now going to have to start walking, looking for my car. I'm pressing the clicker, no car. Oh, I said, Pauline, after all these years, look at us, here we are, in the dark, walking the streets like common workers. Oh, she just laughed. She said, ha ha, you're funny. And I will always remember her saying that. And when the cooking thing, I must add, I got to go to Michael and Christine's wedding. So after the wedding and the days later, I said to Pauline, now I know why there were so many courses. Did you organize that? I said, I think you were just trying to put some meat on Michael's bones for his marriage because you don't cook. Ha ha, you're funny, she says.
Well, I did survive those lean years until I married Christina 30 years ago, so that was so good. But Pauline did have a great sense of humor, and that was 1976. It was remarkable for me to hear those stories from Joanne that she just talked about, because it just brought me back to my childhood, hearing about her sense of humor back in the 70s, which, that's just remarkable. I'm going to bring Peter over to the other room, because we're just going to walk this way. Peter is with the Vancouver Chinese Choir, and he actually said to me at the beginning of today's reception that he'd like to say a few words. So we'll do that. So thank you, Peter.
Actually, this is kind of impromptu, but with Pauline and me, we were Toastmasters, so we can always come and speak on the occasion. I know Pauline over 30 years ago, and we were all young ones. So we were dedicated, trying to do some improvement, and we were at the Centennial Toastmaster Club. So I know her family, I know Luke, and we share stories. And today, but then of course then we all get old, and the last time we had a reunion, that about 3 years ago, and today our host already passed away, Dr. K.K. Wang. So think of it. But I met Pauline quite frequently because we belong to the Vancouver Chinese Choir too. So I see her quite often, and over the last 10 years I can see that she's a very independent woman. As people in the choir age, a lot of people drop out because they cannot drive anymore in the dark, or they feel they don't have anybody to go out with. But Pauline, she is very independent. She always come in on time, get her own taxi, and I like that. And to think of it, I think Pauline, I wasn't too saddened by her sudden passing. Actually, I think she lived a long, right life. She had a good family. She had good job, and the way that she go, it was a blessing. When I think of that hora mortis, which is in Latin, which is the hour of death, and she had it taken care of. Many of us, and from what I was told, she was had a sleep during her lap during the sauna, and then she just never wake up, right? So that was really a blessing in disguise. I guess kind of enviable, because for us older people, we always have the horror thinking that one day we may have to overcome all the indignity of living in a rest home, and then we have to be on the wheelchair, we have force feeding, what else? Terrible.
Okay, that's great.
It's just horror, right? So I really think that somebody take good care of her, and I understand Pauline is a Catholic, and in Catholicism it's called intercession. I think in common layman's word, that is put a few good words for you, and in that case that was the Virgin Mary. So I was thinking that, well, maybe I should recite a little hymn for that. Okay. I don't have a... Now, actually, I find out that the choir, the guy who played the organ, is the son of my classmate.
Alex Young.
Yeah, so the next time I would be able to find an accompaniment.
Okay, you will. That's great.
But right now I just have to do it whatever I do.
Okay.
A cappella.
Okay.
It's not very good, but you have to bear of it.
Sure.
Ave Maria, gratia plena, Domiticum, benedicatu in mulieribus nudititu Tova Tritu Jesu Santa Maria, Santa Maria, Maria, non decandidoribus,
toribus nun inona motis noste. Amen. Amen.
That's for your mother. Thanks, Peter. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you. At this point, I'm going to ask the Vancouver Chinese Choir. They have a number of songs that they'd like to sing. They also put together a video, but for the sake of time right now, we will be running the video slideshows at the end of this reception. So after the performances, we do have a screen over here which will be showing, or maybe we could actually be showing it while the choir. No, we will do it. We'll do it after. So the choir would like to perform here or over here. Where maybe over here. Would you like to come over this way? Does that make sense? Yeah, there was a stand. Yeah. Is this enough room? Can you? Does this work here?
Oh, the speaker.
Is that enough room? Jason, how do you open this thing? How do you get this thing? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna also serve the cake. My mom's favorite cake shop, of course, like so many other families in the city, is Anna's Cake Shop. So we have the fruit cake, the traditional fruit cake with white dressing, or cream. Okay, my cousin's laughing at me now. Okay, frosting, that's what it is. Okay, just for the record. Not dressing. And that gives me a good opportunity to say also, by the way, I meant to mention this earlier, just as the choir is gathering here, I don't know if they have enough room here. Do you have enough room? They're nodding. Okay, just to say that for those who weren't able to be here physically, again, I mentioned this during the service, we do have your floral arrangements here. So thank you to Auntie Irene and Winnie and Vivian, Serena and Winston, and others who are out of town, Uncle Edward, Uncle Claude, as well as Auntie Gwen, who's been like a second sister to Pauline. So thank you for all your condolences. I'm just looking for Monique here, my cousin who helped to organize all of the flowers, and just wanted to thank her for that. And Jason, of course, I mentioned the nieces and nephews. You truly were, Monique, come up here please. And Jason, you truly were like children to her. Thank you. Did I miss anybody in terms of flowers? You heard what I said? Yes, so Lena and Dennis, Lena were friends from high school. They met through the Pen Pal program too. So thank you, Lena and Dennis, for contributing flowers to this service today and this celebration of life. But without further ado, I'm going to hand the mic over to the conductor of the Vancouver Chinese Choir. Here you go.
Thank you. So, we will sing 4 songs. Yeah, maybe.
We are going to sing 4 songs. It is the Love Surpasses Mountains and Sea, 萬水千山總是情. A flicker of candlelight, 一點燭光. The same song, 同一首歌. And the last but not least, 月亮代表我的心, the moon represents my heart. Woo!
Is it just you? No, Mike? Okay. We'll turn it off then. Okay.
using our own speaker and play the music at the
Sure.
background. Sorry
Sure.
about
No, not at all. Thank you for doing this. I just want to, let me say that you're all dear friends of my mother. And, with the Sopranos 2 group, I noticed in some of the messages how tightly organized the whole Vancouver Chinese Choir is. When I look at some of the messaging and the WhatsApp groups and all the emails that you share with each other, thank you for this. You were a big part of her life. And you kept her going, quite frankly, I feel. Particularly during the pandemic. I know Bridget talked about this, the remarkable nature, we all marvel at your ability to do performances together, and I really appreciate that. I think you all know that she was practicing quite a bit every day. It kept her going that way. So thank you all for coming again today. I really appreciated again the performance by the Vancouver Chinese Choir. Thank you for all of that. I was saying earlier that you are all dear friends of my mother's, and one of you said that she's singing with you, and I do feel that in my heart as well. So thank you. The last song is one of my favorites, of course, but really appreciate that. Thank you. We'll be showing the video that the choir put together in a moment, and then there's another slideshow that my family, Justine, put together as well. So enjoy your cake, and you can watch some images as well if you like. Thanks again. Thank you all for coming. Really appreciate this. Thank you.
Thank you.
The cake is on the patio, by the way, if you're looking for the cake. Other members in the other room can come into the sunroom. So there's still more cake on the sunroom patio, but thank you for that. And thanks again to the Vancouver Chinese Choir for showing that video. We're just going to be starting a family slideshow in a moment, but thank you again for coming.
photos, yeah. Yeah, sometimes, right? If I have that
Yeah, she's right here. So we're just having the slideshow here for those who want to see it. We'll run it for a while here, I think, according to Graham and Justine here. That's Pauline there.